So, guys, a very good evening. And in the last class, we have worked with arrays, and in arrays, we have covered numeric arrays as well as character arrays both. Character arrays are nothing but strings, and we have seen a couple of programming examples related to strings. Now we'll start working with functions in C language. So, first of all, try to understand what do you mean by a function. A function is nothing but set of statements which performs a task. Or you can say a function is nothing but a small part of the main program. So in C language, you'll come up with two types of functions. First one is library. The second one is user defined. So the functions which comes along with the C software are known as library functions. So let's try to work with few library functions for the understanding. If you want to reverse the string, then you can work with a library function called strrev, and that is available in string.h header file. If you want to work with mathematical functions, then you have to include math.h. Like this, you have to include a number of header files into your program as per your requirement. Say, for example, here if I declare a string variable and assign the word computer, and if I want to reverse this actually, so what I can do is I can say print of percentage s. The ready-made function which is available to reverse the string is strrev, and you can pass this string and you can run and check it out. You will see the word computer is reversed. In the same way, if you want to find out the square root of a given number, then you can say percentage lf, and you can say sqrt of 100, and you will see the square root of 100, that's nothing but 10, you will get it. So why I'm using percentage lf, why not integer? Why? Because the square root function is designed in such a way that it returns the long double value. The data type what a square root function returns is long double value, and for long double, the format specifier is percentage lf. These are known as actually the library functions, the functions which are coming along with the C software. But sometimes we need to define our own functions also. And that's where we call user defined functions. So let's try to understand that why we need to define an user defined function. So if I want to display a greeting message, then I'll call a function like greeting. So this is known as function call. But when I run this program, I'll get an error. Why? Because the function greeting is not available. It is not available along with the C software. It is not a library function. So I have to define this function. So I'll say greeting, and here I'll say printf slash n, welcome to C programming classes. Okay, so what happens, whenever I run this program, I'll get this message, welcome to C programming classes on the screen. So tomorrow, if you want to call this greeting function once again, then you can simply say greeting, and again that message you'll get it. Again, if you want to call third time, you can say greeting, and third time also you'll get it. Imagine if you want to use a person name like hi Ravi, welcome to C programming classes. Hi Sunil, hi Manoj, Like I want to greet a person by their name. So what you have to do is, for this greeting function, you have to pass that person name. Okay, and you are passing a string, and the string you have to receive in a character array. So receive that string inside a character array, and here what you can do is, you can say hi percentage s, and followed by welcome to C programming classes, and you print this str variable. That's it. Now you see what happens. You are getting this output. See, hi Ravi, welcome to C. Hi Sunil, hi Triveni. So it looks like we are printing three different statements, but you can see here, I have not written that statement three times. I have written that statement only once actually. But I have called three times by passing different input parameters. And this is what we call actually the functions concept. Means a function is nothing but a group of statements which performs a task. Of course, I want to explain you the concept. That's why I've written this greetings functions uh, with only one single line of code. But a function can have like hundreds and thousands of lines of code actually. So have you understood, Triveni, the real importance of functions in this? So that I'll explain you some couple of other examples also.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So now we'll see one small program, that is, I want to read one string from the user. So I'll declare a variable called character str of 100. And I'll say the user enter a string. And I want to read a string along with spaces. So I use getS and I'll say str. Now I want to find out the total length of the string. What I can do is I can say simply say print of length of the string is, and I can say percentage d comma str len of the string what we are reading, and this is available in string.h header file. So you can include that header file, and I'll say hello, welcome to programming. And you can see we got length is 28. So do you know this 28 indicates 28 number of characters along with the space. Like space is also counted as a character actually. Now, if your client requirement is to count only number of characters without space, I'll run this program once again and I'll show you. I say hi, hello. Can you see? You count and tell me exactly how many characters are there. Exactly, there are 7 characters. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
H-I-H-E-L.
With the space.
With space. So suppose if there is a requirement to count the number of characters without spaces, then will this strlen function will work for you?
No, sir.
So that is the reason you need to write a new function for your own requirement. Means what are all the functions which are provided by C language, the library functions of C language will not be sufficient, to perform your day-to-day task. We need to learn how to define your own functions also. And if you want to define your own function, first of all, you should learn how to implement a programming logic. So all these days, we have seen different programming examples, and we have implemented the different logics actually. But if you are still interested to improve your programming logic, then I have given n number of programming examples for the each requirement that you check it out. You have to start this course, C programming language classes. And inside this, you can see you can see these are the different modules I made for you to practice actually. To practice, see, I'm explaining all the concepts, but again, it depends upon the student on their personal interest that how they need to learn the course by implementing different programming examples. So you need to start these self-learning modules. These self-learning modules will increase your programming logic because we have given n number of programming examples actually. So attending live classes, all your concepts will be cleared, all your doubts will be clarified. But if you want to really improve your programming, if you want to become so strong in programming, then you must you must complete those modules from the learning management system also. So the ready-made function which is available inside the string.h function is not actually fulfilling our need. So what we have to do is we have to define our own function. So I'll say string length. I'm defining my own function called string length, and it should return an integer number by reading one character array. And this concept is known as function declaration. Function declaration. And now what you can do is number of characters without spaces are, and you can say here string length, you can say string length, and you can pass this str. You can pass this str. But this function is not defined, so you have to define it actually. So integer is the return type. String length is the function name, and I will say character str open the closure brackets. Now here you have to write the logic. Integer I for I equals to 0, str of I not equals to null character, and I'll say I plus plus. Here I'll say if str of I not equal to space, then I am declaring one variable with the name length whose value is 0. If it is not equal to space, then I'll say length plus plus. And after coming out of this loop, I'll say return length. Now what I'm doing, I am implementing a new logic to count the length of the string without spaces actually. Now you can see this program and check. I'll say hi and hello and see, are you giving 7 spaces? Is this clear, Trivedi?
Yes, sir.
So you can create header files also. So how to create a header file? See what you have done, you have written the function declaration as well as the function definition in the same main program. What you can do is you can simply create a new file with the name my. You can create a new file with the name new. Okay, and you can say empty file. You can save it my str dot h, put the extension as dot h, and whatever the declaration part is there, that you remove it from the main program, you put inside this dot h file. Okay, and whatever the definition you have written, that you remove it from the main program and you put it inside this dot h file. Now what happens, if you go to this main program, your main program should include this header file saying hash include my str.h. User defined header files are included by using this double quotes. Okay. And once you include this header file, this particular string length will be available for your program. Now you can see how you can work. Hello, and you can say welcome, and you get HELLO 5 letters. Okay, welcome 7 letters. Exactly 12 we are getting. But if you use the library function of C language by including string.h, then you will get 13 as the answer. But here I have defined my own header file with own function. Like this, before you start working on any project, what you have to do is you have to define header files with the respect to functions, and then you have to implement those in your project actually. So got clarity that how user defined header files are created.
Yeah, sir.
Now we'll see one small program. Like this, what you have to do is all the programs what you have learned till now, that everything you have to convert it into functions concept actually. Then you learn the subject in a next level actually. Now we'll see one more program. I'll say integer a comma b, two variables I'm declaring. Okay, and I'll ask the user to enter values for a and b. So enter value for a, scanf percentage d comma ampersand of a, printf enter value for b, scanf percentage d ampersand of b. So my program is to swap values of two variables a and b. So I'll call the swap function and I'll pass a and b. Okay, and after calling swap function, I'll print the values of a equals to percentage d comma a, and then I'll print the value of b. Okay, so now you have to define the swap function. Swap function doesn't return anything, so say void, and it takes two parameters of integers. So here, whenever you are passing some data to the swap function a and b, here a and b are known as actual parameters. Okay, and here x and y are known as the formal parameters. And actual parameters and formal parameters can be same or can be different. And you have to declare the function actually. The return type is void. Swap is the function name. It is taking two integers. This is known as function declaration. This is known as function calling. This is known as function call. And this is known as function definition actually. Now, here what I am doing is I am declaring one variable called temp, and I'll assign the x value to temp first, then y value to x, then y value to x, and then I'll say y equals to 10. So ultimately my goal is to swap the values of two variables a and b. But now try to understand whether the values are getting swapped or not. No, the values are not getting swapped. So you need to understand why the values are not getting swapped. So for this, what I'm doing is I'll open Microsoft Whiteboard and I'll explain you what's the problem for this. So what you have done, like you have declared two variables like a and b. So this is your main function. Let me write it. This is your main function. Inside this main function, you have declared two variables. One is A, second one is B. And in A, you have stored the value 10. In B, you have stored the value 20. And you have called swap function and you have passed A and B values to it. Then immediately when the control has jumped to swap function, what it has done, you have received this in X and Y. So the value of A is copied in X, value of B is copied in Y. So this will be your X, this will be your Y, this is X, this is Y. So value is copied here and value is copied here. So here you will find 10, here you will find 20. So you have written some logic, you have declared some temp variable, and you have done some changes. But the moment control comes out of this block, the whole function will be removed from the memory. And in the main function, A and B remains as it is. That is the reason the values of the variables A and B of main are not getting changed. Because the value of A is copied in X and value of B is copied in Y. Any changes you have made for this A and B variables means any changes you made for this X and Y variables have no impact on A and B variables. So this is known as actually call by value. Why we call it as call by value? Because you are calling the swap function by passing values of A and B variables. So from this you need to understand that it is impossible, it is impossible to change or to update the value of a variable. It is impossible to update the value of a variable uh, from outside the function. Within the function, you can do it anything, but after coming out of the function, you cannot update the value of a variable. But here, the problem is if you want to develop big projects, if you want to develop big applications, then definitely you need to divide your big program into smaller modules. But it is not possible to update the values of variables while working with functions. So what you have to do is, as we are not able to update the values of variables directly, you need to work at the address levels of the variables. And working at the address levels of the variables is nothing but you need to know like how to access the address of the variable, how to perform operations on that, and that's where the concept of pointers will come into picture. So got clarity why we need to work with functions and when we'll face problems while working with functions. Any doubts if you have in this topic till now what we have discussed? So I'll just give you some basic idea that what a pointer is and how it works actually. So when I declare a variable like integer x, and if I assign a value 10, then what happens, in memory, some space will be reserved for the variable x, the value 10 will be stored, and there will be totally 4 bytes allocated for this, 4 bytes. Each byte will have some address, like say 285, 286, 287, 288. 285, 286, 287, 288. 4 bytes. So if you want to store this address in some variable, then you have to declare one variable. Say for example, I'll say P. But the P should be a special variable because This variable P is meant for storing addresses. So you have to use the star symbol before the variable name, and you have to say ampersand of X. Then what happens, a variable will be created P, address of X will be stored. So X is having actually 4 addresses, but the first byte address will be assigned to this variable P. Now we call P as a pointer variable. Why? Because it's pointing to a value which is there at the address location of 285. Means using pointer variable, we can access the other memory locations using the addresses concept actually. So this pointers concept is going to solve so many problems in future while developing applications in C language. So in tomorrow's class, I'll explain you the programming examples with pointers. But today you need to understand that what is a function, why we need to work with functions, what do you mean by dividing a big program into smaller modules, and how to define your own header file while working with functions. Is this clear, Triveni?
Yeah, sir, please.
But I want to know, like, have you are you working on these recorded videos concept? Like, I know we have completed only the first course, but how long it will take to complete the second course? Can I know? Like, have you started or not?
No, sir, and no.
So when you will be starting? Uh,
2 months.
Tomorrow will start. See that by this weekend, at least if you can complete, then after that you can start with the third module also. After that you can start with the third. This third module, C programming language classes, is very big module. You have to like spend few months of time to learn this, and even after completing this particular batch also, every Friday I'll conduct live sessions. In that live session, I'll clarify all your doubts, what are the doubts you have while learning this particular subject. So, and that you can attend it for next 1 year actually. Though we complete the course in 1 month, though we complete the course in 1 month, but even for next 1 year, every Friday you can attend my live session, and in that live session I'll be clarifying all your doubts. Is this clear, Triveni?
Yeah, sir.
Okay. So any doubts from this today's class, or it's clear?
No, sir, clear, sir.
Clear. Then tomorrow I'll ask you to write a few programming examples in functions concept. I'll ask you a few questions that you have to write programs, and then I'll explain you the pointers concept. Is that okay?
Yeah, sir, okay, sir.
Okay. Fine. Then I'll stop here. You just start practicing it, because today if I ask you, then you may not be able to do it. So I'll give some time gap, and tomorrow I'll ask you few questions from functions, and that you have to implement it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So thank you so much, and bye.